So you purchased the Eloquent JavaScript one or the other different publisher?
But yeah, which recommended the eloquent
Okay, that's
JavaScript.
nice. Yeah. So time by time, you can lean back and open any page, try to read, try to understand, underline with your highlighter, and put bookmarks. In that way, it's really good to, enhance our knowledge by reading documentation, by reading the books, because they most of the time contain the most like advanced explanations, especially like in details, everything. YouTube videos, Udemy's are also good, but they're not oftentimes covering, the very, uh, you know, um, deepest points or advanced parts of every single subject. Um, it- that's why the books are highly recommended, guys. So React, React is actually uh, a library which was developed by Facebook engineers. Um, it's uh, it's currently one of the most demanding, skills for the front end developers. Without React, uh, if there are like job postings without React, it would be uh, just like a few positions be available, like Angular or Vue.js. Our React is currently the dominating in every front end position as a required skill. So, from my experience, we also used React, like in Amazon project, for example. Amazon itself, it's a huge, IT giant, and using React and building the projects using React. Currently, the JP Morgan Chase also uh, building a lot of applications using React. In the past, people maybe used um, tools like PHP, um, maybe vanilla JavaScript itself. Uh, However, right now, React replaced all those like uh, you know complicated tasks by offering very simple solutions where React has its own approaches to make the pages work fast, perform really well, and at the same time giving the developers very like engaging atmosphere for them to build the features. uh, as far as I know, React also used by Airbnb, booking.com. What else? IBM, I think, uses um, uh, like shopping, especially like shopping e-commerce websites. Most of them are using the React. Some companies may have their own libraries, uh, because of some security reasons. They may still rely on their own, they still rely on their own libraries, internal libraries, which is closed for public. Uh, but apart from that, mm, you know, as I mentioned, a lot of companies are utilizing the power of React and really benefiting from it. I remember once uh, we were working on California State project. It it didn't look like a React, but it's still on top of JavaScript. So you will understand that how you should be familiar with JavaScript in any way, even if the project is not related with React. So that wasn't related with React. It was kind of an internal framework. developed by the company. So I had to like understand it um, uh, based on my JavaScript skills. So, um, but the some scenarios were still kind of like similar to React, but the framework was called not React. It was called a Lift, and that is not available to public, and it's not open. Um, all right, so if we go to React, so let me list really quickly here the things about React that we have mentioned so far. So where's my type? I'm trying to type here. Looks like it's not visible. Okay, so I wanted to show the goal for today's uh, session. It's everything about introduction to React, and then we will be like building our very first application using React, and then make some changes, try to display some text and so on, understand how the React is working and interacting with UI. That's our goal for today. um, and then um, let's first see the documentation of the React. How does it actually um, structure it? Share my screen. So React, and it has its own um, the main web page. It's react.dev. You see, react.dev, and the very first sentence that you see in front of you is the React is the library for web and native user interfaces. So it says it's a library, and it could be like key sentence for interview question. So tell me about React. What is React? You could start say using these keywords. It's a library for building a web and mobile applications. So React has its the other version as well. It's React Native and React Web. So native is for mobile applications, web is for web applications. We will be learning all the way with the web applications, not native. Um, so you can use these terms like can use to create user interfaces in other words like UI. Okay, and then
Excuse me,
was
may I ask a question?
yes.
Some says the React is a library, but some think that's the framework. And what's the difference between the framework and the library? I
Yeah,
know that
good.
the framework has its own structure, but uh,
Exactly. Yeah, I can explain. So, React is a library, um, Angular, or there is also called what was that? I think Sales JS. They are all frameworks. Library comes with more like compact and simplified, um, like configurations. It doesn't offer like the pattern that's called MVC, which is like model view controller. In framework, they come with MVC pattern, model view controller. So it means like they have pretty much like fundamental uh, um, configurations for backend interactions as well. So they offer some APIs, built-in APIs. They offer they come with the database like communication configurations. So you will start building your project on top of that existing configurations, which makes your also like project, start not from scratch, but from some point. As a result, framework offers more bigger boilerplate. So it comes with the bigger picture where it already has some backend database, configuration patterns, so you can continue. However, library doesn't. So, for example, in React, we don't have anything related with backend. We don't have anything related with database or API or so on. So we have to do on our own to interact with backend, to interact with database, and so on, so on. That's kind of top level description. Makes sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. So um, I also had chance to work with another framework. The one that I mentioned is Sales.js, and I saw it has a lot of APIs. It has a lot of like um, routes, like functions, synchronous functions, database interactions, and because that's an MVC, that's in a framework, and it comes with those built-in, pre-configured structures. However, React doesn't. It's actually really fast and easy to install. It doesn't take a lot of memory space. Um, or the page optimization, performance optimization in React is really, uh, developed and next level. We will learn them hopefully step by step. So if we jump into the learn React, we're gonna see almost all the like steps, saying starting from installation, and then other advanced topics. So what does this quick start say? It says simply showing us a very simple button, and then using that button in our application. But before this step, uh, we have to understand how to install it, and how, the ways, the steps to install, and then to start writing our very first project. So once we like start learning the React, I recommend you to frequently refer these documentations to read and then understand better. For example, managing state, it says like how to lift state up. How do you like send data? Let's say your information from one page to another page. Okay, from one component to another component, because React is built in the form of components, a lot of components making one huge application. So think about like you have a lot of a box of Lego parts. Every single part is a component, and when you combine them, when you attach them to each other, you end up building maybe a car or other like interesting tools, right? Or device, or some sort of shapes, maybe house, a big, multi-floor uh, house. That multi-floor house is built because of all those small pieces of Lego. The same way you can imagine the React applications are built using small components, and then as a result, it makes the one huge application. Okay. So in that small components, we want to send data from one part to another part, and we want to transfer, want to ship those data continuously. So that's kind of called lifting state up. So you can read these kind of like topics when while we are covering. And then you see here on the left side, like React, choose the state structure, preserving the state, passing data deeply with context, and so on, so on. These are like more advanced topics. We definitely cover them, and you will understand. Uh, so once we like capture the breaking point in React, these are gonna really make sense. Okay? Just initially, the learning curve could be a little challenging. I offered solution for that one, um, to overcome that steep learning curve in React. You just have to repeat the same code again and again, like even just looking, 10 times, just copy paste, until you start writing on your own the the, the React projects. Okay. So this is the documentation. Definitely, there are a lot of other resources available you can refer to. So React doc. Let's see what else we have. Um, yeah, this is another nice documentation for React, and then we have all the concepts here, like from Hello World. What is a render? So what does the component mean? State, handling events. How do we use the mapping? And then advanced are more like more hooks, so React hooks. Um, so initially the React started with building the components using the classes. Okay, React like class components. You remember the uh, JavaScript classes, right? Um, and then JavaScript has this keyword. JavaScript has the imitation of object-oriented programming. So like you can create classes, objects in JavaScript programming language, even if it's a functional programming language. That that classes in JavaScript um, uh, help the developers to build React library. We're gonna start with classes, yeah, and we will build our application using classes, and then we like maybe after 1 month, we will jump into the hooks. Currently, everywhere the applications are built with hooks. Hooks is the JavaScript. I think JavaScript maybe 16. I don't remember. Maybe 17 version. That made all the components. Make managing the states in a more like easier way comparing to the classes. So, main concept, for instance, hello world. You can see over here what is JSX. We will cover it today as well. So this documentation is really good. I can share it over the chat. Okay. This is nice actually, and it says also a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. And getting started, take the tutorial. Yeah, and then it's showing very simple class component. So class hello message extends React component and render so and so on. Another example like timer and so on. We will cover them. Don't get intimidated with these syntaxes. Yeah. So if you pay attention, JavaScript, the React all the time uses these sort of like building blocks like div h3, and then it has some interesting things like here value. So input value is equal to something curly braces. So this is how dynamically React uses the variables inside this HTML like code. So actually inside the regular HTML we cannot use dynamic variables. So the JavaScript has JSX syntax, which is called like JavaScript XML, and that's what the React uses to build the components. And alongside with that component, they can use this dynamic implementation of how to use the variables. Okay, so anyway, don't get like afraid of these syntaxes. Don't get afraid of these syntaxes, and let's go back and see what else we have. So you don't need to like refer a lot of documentations initially, not to get like confused. Maybe just these two are good, especially this one. Getting started is the best. Uh, I think single point for you to refer. Okay. Of course, a lot of resources in YouTube and Udemy. You can watch like introductory tutorials. So, any questions so far?
Nope.
All right. So we haven't covered a lot. I mean, so until now, you just tried to mention where does it come from, the power of React, and what is it actually. mm, in terms of demand, the usage, the way it's used in the companies. It's it made a tremendous change for the companies. So like in a way, the developers are building the applications using React. um, for instance, if there is a new feature saying that you say you have to implement a payment system, and to React, suggest uh, the, the logic to implement that payment system by splitting into like components. So payment system, I will have button, I have, let's say, credit card information, and then I have some like um, text on top of that payment system saying that choose Visa, PayPal, or so on, so on. So I already like started thinking to split that payment system into three components. So like the payments, PayPal, Visa, Mastercard, credit. So that's one component, and then the information about the credit card in expire date, it's another component, and then the button part, like submit part or yeah, checkout part is another component. So when I put on top of each other, it's gonna make me one payment system. Okay, and that's the how React suggests the solutions that you build applications. Um, so we haven't talked the real like the mystery behind the React, why it's that fast, and then it's making it really popular. Uh, so today we will learn about it. Um, so first we can go and then start like installing our very first React application. Yeah. All right, let me go and then share my VS Code. So and this is from previous class. Did you get guys chance to review and look at those codes from last session? I shared it over the Slack. I hope you reviewed it. Like, let's take a look. How did we build our application last time? By fetching multiple URLs and multiple, I mean, if images from multiple APIs, and using the Bootstrap technology. Okay, I'll go and then open a folder maybe. Where's my terminal? Okay, it says JS recap, and then I'll go one level back and see what we have. So we have React Recap, React class 1. Then let's create another directory. React Spring. Okay. React Spring, and then oops. Let's jump into React Spring. Okay. We don't have anything inside. I have anything inside now. So inside this React Spring, we close all this. Don't need anything. We're gonna build our very first React application. So it has its own syntax, guys. It's very simple. So it's simply if you go to the documentation, where is the installation part? Getting started. So there you're gonna see the syntax how to start your very first React is React website. I know that syntax, but I just want to show you. It starts with npx create React app, and what is that one? Here you go. Okay, it starts with npx create React app. This is the keyword that you have to remember all the time to install your React application, and then it comes with the name. You can put these names based on your application name. You can put like my payment, my e-commerce, or just e-commerce or payment, or like let's say camping, um what else, my blogs, um Shopify, shopping mall, and so on, whatever you want you can put for this section. So that's gonna be your playground. Is like my app part is your playground, so you can give your application name, but that application name shouldn't be like um, separated with some sort of keywords. I think React is banned keyword. You cannot create your application with the name React. Okay, so npx create React app and then React or React shopping. um, so you will see the error message saying that hey, you can't give that keyword for your application name. So we can try. Oops, I stopped sharing again. So we can try. Let's go and then try to start our very first application. npx create React app. This part is the standard for installing and creating very first React application. Okay, and if I put here, let's say React, and let's start, and we probably will get a message error. The application shouldn't be. Also, there are some standards. You see, cannot create a project name React because a dependency with the same name exists. You see, like React DOM, these kind of keywords shouldn't include in your project name. But anything else like my, for instance, first app should be okay. Let's see that underscore if it's not gonna give error. Probably it shouldn't, and that way you can create your React applications. Yep, makes sense, guys. It's clear.
Yes, it is. I have a question. Is it better
Yeah.
to use white instead of create app?
Instead of create React app, you want to
Yeah,
use what? What?
white. Create latest, white
Uh,
latest.
maybe. Not sure like the key difference between them, but this is what the React suggests for us. Yeah.
Hmm.
But if you find, I mean, any advantage using that one, or
Um,
is there, if there is no difference, it's up to you.
because when I use like create a React app, it creates the only like pure JS files, and on the other hand, with White, it generates like JSX.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
could be, but it's not a game changer.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, could be just convenience. But this is what the React standard, the documentation, all the like books, uh, starts with first. I mean, to install the React application. And it's also possible to go with like npm create, npm, not npx, but npm. But why that npx is because npx uh, does a lot of uh, React configurations automatically. If we go with npm, so we have to complete several steps after running the npm to make our React application ready. Okay, so in order to avoid from those extra steps, we can just go npx, which does everything automatically for us. So we don't need to, configure again our React application to make it ready. So npx is enough, and then it does everything automatically. So we can also check like um, what happens if I install React with npm. Let's see. Installing React with npm allows you to manage and share the package for React. It also CLI type provides a shortcut initial folders. The node for using npm. What does npm React install do? And sharing Node.js can download and install from the official node. So what happens if you run npm? Oh, not this one. It's React needed. So it requires some other extra steps. However, npx it does everything with a single shot. You need to worry about any extra step. Okay, so this one already created us a fully fledged React application, so we can start directly working on. But of course, look at this. We are still inside the React Spring, right? And that's the folder. But we have to go to our application now to get started with. We have to go to our application. So where is that application? So we have to go into see. So if we check now, we have this my first app. We now have to go inside that my first app, and if we check inside, we have, you see, node modules, src, git ignore, package JSON, and so on, so on. And now we can start working on here. So I want to open this application on separate VS Code. So let me open it and then see how does that React structural look like. So I can close this one and just go with my React application. Okay, so our React application under the folder my first app is ready, and we have node modules. But that node modules is actually all the like packages installed for us. It's not gonna be like deployed when you ship, when you save into somewhere else like GitHub. It's not gonna be saved. So git ignore has that node modules, which means like this node modules is not gonna be transferred to uh, remote locations because it's a huge file. It's a really big, and it contains all the like packages, even like a lot of configurations inside. So we don't need to ship, we don't need to deploy, you don't need to copy this one. And can we, how do we like maintain this later when we want to run the React application? Do you know how do we like maintain these node modules? How do we get it back?
node install or npm.
npm install. So npm install relies on what? Relies on your package.json. As long as you have package.json, your node modules easily comes back. So node modules can easily be maintained using the npm install as long as you have package.json. So this package.json is important. You shouldn't touch this file. So everything written here, when you run like npm install, will create node modules for them. So node modules is a huge file. We don't need to like um, ship or deploy. Package.json is enough. So based on this package.json, all other deployments configurations are done. So what is inside this package.json? It has the version of the React. If you take a look, it's an 18, the latest version React. Used to be 17, then before 16, so on and so on. And then the name of your application, like my first app, you see. And then it has some dependencies. So it's like it comes with the unit testing, it comes with testing libraries, Jest, React. So we don't need to install, let's say, when we want to test our React application, we don't need to install any external library because React already comes with testing libraries. Okay. And then these are more like for starting the application, scripts for starting. So we will start our application using, you see, like npm start. Npm start is enough for us to start the application. And then the readme pretty much contains the steps how to run this application. Look at this, like the moment you type npm start, it's gonna pop up in your browser under this URL link, like localhost 3000, so you can see your application. Okay, and this is for testing, and this is for deploying, like building, and so on and so on. The rest are too much. And what is inside is public. So it comes with a lot of like extra stuffs, things like icon. So you see this React icon, we can actually delete it. We don't need this one. And then this logo, we don't need this one. We can also remove this. Another logo, you see, and like some other JSON files, we don't need them. These are all extra, but look at this HTML is the most important one. It's almost empty. It does have nothing. So we can like we can see that it has only head section. Look at this, which is just some um, you know uh, some links inside, so we can get rid of them actually. Without them our page still works. And look at the the body part, and we have div, and it's nothing. Div contains nothing. Okay, div contains nothing. But when we go and then let's run our application. Where's my terminal? Okay. When we run our application, um, we see something unlikely to div. So the way we start is npm start. Okay, and then it's gonna pop up the browser with the URL localhost 3000. So that div is initially nothing, it's empty, but when we run, we end up having a lot of, HTML elements inside this div. Okay, inside this div. So, yeah, everything we build under this src source are, somehow consolidated, like somehow united, somehow joined together and injected into this index HTML. So this index HTML, this index.html is going to be our main page. Everything inside within this div will be in that main page. We will be in that browser, but currently it doesn't have anything. All the stuffs injected into this div are coming from this src file. You see src folder. So we have app.js, index.js, logo, and then app css. All are making one application, and then that application is injected into this div. And when we go to our page, there is a web page running. You see, this is our React application with the URL of localhost 3000. Okay, so if we inspect and we end up seeing something now, there is indeed something inside the div. You see, it used to be empty, this root. You see, it used to be empty, this root in our index HTML. But after running our React application, it's no longer empty, but it has a lot of things inside. Like it has another div, it has header, it has image, it has paragraph. You see, it has a tag, and so on, so on. A lot of like HTML, like tags are injected into that div. Who is injecting that? Where that injection is coming from? That is handled here inside index.js. So I am reaching out to that get element by ID root. And who is that root? It's here. You see, ID root. I'm reaching out to here, and then I'm injecting my app using the like root.render. You see, like React DOM, create root, and then document get element by ID. I'm reaching out to that index.html. I'm reaching out to here, and uh, into that root, I'm injecting my application. So we don't need actually these extra stuffs to mitigate the confusion. I can remove it. We can also remove these guys. We don't need these. Okay, so to make it more simple. So look at this now. That root is reachable um, inside HTML, and then I'm injecting my app. And who is this app? Who is this app? So import app from app. That's actually this one. You see here, function app, which is returning me div, and that div has header, image, paragraph, and so on, so on. And this app is, you see, returning a big div, and that div is inside this app, and that app is imported from index.js, and inside index.js, I'm injecting it into my root. As a result, the root is getting all these things. See, I mean here, yeah, header, image, and so on, so on. So in other words, I can remove everything here. Let's come up with our in our own way. So what we can do is like I can put here div and then hello React. And now this app function, look at this function app. It's just a JavaScript function. So you can put here let's say Nur Sultan. You see function Nur Sultan. But you just have to make sure, hey, Nur Sultan should be exported. Okay, function Nur Sultan. And this function Nur Sultan is imported. So import function Nur Sultan from app.js. Okay, from app.js. And I just have to inject that function Nur Sultan into my root. And that Nur Sultan has just hello React text. Okay, and if you go back, we're gonna see hello React. Okay.
Yeah, can you please explain that was render method? How does it work?
Render over here inside index.
Root.render.
Root, yeah. So this root is just a
I mean about only render. It's like method.
yeah, render method. Yeah, method. It's
Yeah.
it's a React method that makes our components like scanned, so it's rendered like an HTML tags. So whatever is coming from Nur Sultan are gonna be rendered or read or scanned like an HTML text, so we can so it becomes like compatible with browser, and so browser can show for us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So from this point we can give a pause, okay? So to make it, more understandable. So let's have a break, okay? Like 10-15 minutes, and then we'll continue. Okay. I'm gonna pause, resume recording. Yeah, the name of the function currently is Nursultan. It can be anything, and that function is returning an HTML, you see here, called like div element. And actually this is not usual for JavaScript, and we have called JSX. So React uses JSX, which is a JavaScript XML. It's an extension for JavaScript programming language. So this doesn't look like a programming language, but JavaScript uses this JSX extension to make the code return HTML like code or HTML like elements. So that's called JSX. So based on that JSX power, React benefits it to build all the components. You remember from vanilla JavaScript, we have been all the time like using backtick and then trying to inject this kind of elements. So this is gonna be where we will be using all the time from now on in React. So that JSX also makes it really helpful for us to put like dynamic variables. So let's say const let's say um, uh, name, and then we have let's say Izada, and then if you would like to use this name somewhere else inside this HTML elements, so because of this JSX power, we can use simply that variable using this curly braces and then put here name. Okay, hello React, and then it says simply a name and whatever it is. Okay, so this curly brace is also the requirement of JSX. If we would like to put the dynamic variables or whatever the variables we want to use, we have to put inside the curly braces. And if you go back and check it out, so function Sultan is returning div. Inside we have text content, hello React, and variable name. So that name is equal to Izada. And then this Nursultan is exported, and we are using that Nursultan inside our index, and index.js is reaching out to root, and that root is coming from public folder, which is index.html, and originally it does contain nothing. So you see ID root, and then but we are injecting the Nursultan into that root. So whatever Nursultan returns for us is going to be injected here, something like this. So like div, and then hello React and Izada. It's gonna be injected in this way. Okay. So we're not gonna put this one because we leave it empty. This injection is handled by React. Okay. So if we go and then check our browser, we have hello React and Izada. And then down below here on the right side, in the inspection, you see the root, and it has components inside, and the div hello React, and comes with Izada. Okay, and that's how it's building that application.
What is component as Kanybek? Which file? All app.js access?
You mean which one?
You said here's component, and which one was
Oh
component?
yeah, so I'll come to that definition in a
Okay.
broader way. So this Nursultan is actually JavaScript function. Okay, it's function, but in other words, this is a React component. So component is a part of application, is one part of application. So here we have a huge, let's say, application. So this is React app currently. And one of the part is this Hello React and Izada. That's coming from Nur Sultan component. Okay. Nur Sultan is a component. Um, in other words, it's a JavaScript function. But in React terms, we say it's a component. And every component has to be initialized with a capital letter. Okay, capital letter. So if you just put here Nur Sultan, it's not gonna be treated as a component, and it doesn't like it's not gonna rely on the nature of React later on when we have more like complicated logic. So it has to be initialized with uppercase. So when the React uses uppercase names alongside with the function keyword, it's going to be component. If you just use like this, let's say, if you have just JavaScript functions, let's say function add to, or let's say string slice, if it's just a JavaScript function, you can use just a lowercase, okay? Because it's not gonna return and what JSX, so it's not gonna return. Since it's not gonna return, you can just make a JavaScript function. But if it's gonna return JSX, you have to make it it's a component, and you have to make it an uppercase with capitalized naming. If it's gonna return JSX, so if it's gonna return HTML element, HTML tags, so we have to initialize our name with a capital case. But if it's not going to return anything, let's say it takes a string and then it just slices all the time, show string dot slice, and then let's say 10. So since it's not like returning any HTML element or tag, something like that, we can just put regular JavaScript function, okay, declaration. So that's the difference. If it returns HTML element, then it means it's a React component. If it's not returning, it's just a JavaScript function. Okay. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So every time when you save your changes, your server gets updated. So like you don't need to run again and again. It just updates your browser automatically the moment you make changes. So let's say you added another variable down below here, const, let's say age, some number, right? 22. And then if you would like to use here that age, like h1, and then my age is, and then use here age, and then save it. You see, my age is hello React, and this one my age is, and this, and then you just the moment you save it, it's gonna update the server, so you will see from your browser all the changes. You see, it's in this header 1 category. So this
And
Nursultan is taken and then used inside index.js, and index.js is reaching out to our public folder where we have index.html, and then it's injecting inside this div root. So it could also be, guys, class. It could be class. You can put class. Or you just have to make sure here, like get element, not by ID, but by, do we have class? We just have to put here class, or we can just like query selector and then make sure this is a class. Okay, query selector and then root class, since this index.html has class root. Okay, so index.js is now reaching to that point, query selector root class, and it's still same, nothing changed.
Kanybek,
Yeah,
why all of these files untracked? Did you use Git for them?
was that?
I see all of these files is untracked.
Oh, this one looks like, yeah, somewhere I
Right?
initialized the GitHub, that's why, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
but
was
the
by default.
no, that's a good point. I mean, I if you don't like initialize Git, you shouldn't be seeing these like untracked or these kind of things. You see, I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
somewhere else I initialized Git. That's why this kind of look like untracked. But it if you see from, I mean, if you start from scratch, most probably shouldn't be getting this.
Okay, I just thought you didn't do that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cool. Thank you. Cool. So this we can also remove this like fav icon. These are actually redundant stuffs, like, and index HTML. Just using them to build very like simple Scratch React application, so we can remove and then do everything according to our logic. And then it has also like the logo SVG. That logo SVG also coming here. We can remove this, and then app.js, we can get rid of this logo. And then we have CSS, so we can uh, use the CSS rules outside of the component. Like here, app CSS, you see it has like app class, app logo, media core, and so on and so on. So I mean, we will learn how to apply stylings definitely, but let's get rid of this one also and remove it. However, you can also simply give directly here the styles using the style tag, and then using the double curly brace, and then let's say color, and then put here red. But don't worry, like I will just remove it. You will have another session for all those like styling and so on and so on. So you see we have all these red. That's another way of styling. Cool. And so this is how the component works. And then let me remove this index CSS as well, and then go back to index.js and remove this guy. You see, and app.js. All right. And inside public, let me see the head. It's kind of using this fav icon, so I can remove that one. Basically, we can get rid of these all. You see, I mean, not all of them. These are all just redundant stuffs. We can leave those meta tags, and then React app is not gonna be your title. Let's say, what was our application is like my first app. So it's gonna be your browser title right here. You see my first app, and then you can change this icon as well. That is most probably coming from either this one or this one. If you just update these things, or I'm not sure where it's coming. Maybe this one, fav icon, is coming from here. Maybe it gets updated based on your application. So because if you want to like deploy your own web application, you have to remove this logo, this icon, before you make your website um, published to public. I mean, make it open to public. So you will remove it and then put your own icon, your logo, company logo, or whatever. That's quite like optimization of these React application, where we like we don't need things. So let's remove and make things just look simple rather than look complicated. I'll just remove everything. You see, pretty much very like simple, and this test file is also not related currently. What is this report with vitals? Let me remove this to setup tests. I can leave in case it hurts the application. So the git ignore package and package, and then we have app.js, index JS. That's it, and it's still working. No one got hurt. See, it's very like small, very compact React application, and we don't need to. You don't need to open this index HTML It's not like part of the developer's task to see again and again this index HTML, because it does its own job automatically.
Yeah.
We don't need to open. So only thing is we're gonna work under this src folder. Everything is run under this src. Okay.
And like, do you use script in index HTML to clean
We use what?
JS script?
In index HTML, no, we don't use anything. We don't touch the displays. We just touch displays to update our title and update our icon. That's it.
Okay, so React somehow connecting them, right?
Yeah, React does everything for us. So query selector root. You can change the class name to something else. Let's say tag, and you just have to make sure that you are reaching out to this say tag from your index JS properly using the say tag class name. That's it. All right. So now app.js. This is our app. So I will remove everything and write our very first component from scratch. So we can go and then create a lot of like components down below here. So we can create folder, say that say common. So you can create common folder if you want to use like some, buttons in multiple places. So, or if you want to use some, logic in different places. So what kind of, let's say you have a pagination logic. So you can create it one common pagination component, and then you can use that pagination wherever you have a pagination logic. Okay, so those kind of components can go under common, and then some maybe other images can go like under assets folder, and then maybe you have another like a feature called login, logout, password, and so on, so on. So we can create here authentication folder. So all the logic related to login, logout, password, authentication goes under this folder. So you will go and then create login.js file, and then you can go create logout.js file, and so on, so on. So when you like make them working, and then when you combine them under app.js, app.js sends it to index.js, and index.js renders it to your root in HTML. So you will see from your browser what is going on. Okay, so that's how you can create more folders and more files. Let's go with this app.js. So it's like best practice all the time, guys. The name of your component should be like similar to the name of your files. If it's app.js, so you got to like create your component with app, okay, like this. If it's let's say, let me go and then create another one. Let's say navbar and JS, okay. I'm gonna go create a component. So it's in this case going to be function navbar. Okay, so this is best practice, guys. Like you have to follow the same name, the same file for the component, and then the file name. Okay, and then it returns, let's say, div, and then inside, actually not div, let's say it returns ul, and then we have li, let's say menu, and then we have others like contacts, about us. Okay, so this is my navbar, and I have here app.js. So it starts with app the same way, or you can also make this one like main.js, okay? And then you can make this main. So like main, okay? So it's best practice, guys, but it's not must have thing. It's up to you. Sometimes you can come with, if file name is main, you can still keep it app, okay? But just to avoid confusions, that's what the best practice follows. Main, and then return. Let's return some component elements like h1 hello, and then we can put down below here paragraph like lorem, you see. And what else? We can also put here a BR horizontal line, and then UL, you see, like UL, and then LI H1 cars, and down below here we can put another LI Honda, and then we can list a lot of other things for, let's say, Dodge, and so on. Okay, so this is how you want to build your application. It's up to you. So you just continue putting all the HTML tags. But one thing, if you pay attention here, what if like I want to put something at the bottom, another div, and then put here saying that this is going to be my h2, and then say that this is my footer section. Okay, so another div, and then I want to put it as a footer section. Another div here, okay, and then say that this is my I don't know, like maybe h2 again, like sidebar section. So, and the React started complaining. It's not happy right now. Okay, it's not happy. So we have like one div, and then another div, and another div. So 3 divs. So one component cannot return like multiple divs. Of course, it can return multiple divs, but they all have to be wrapped within one single wrapper. Okay, so in this case, we can wrap with one div. So like this, and get this guy and make it wrapping all other divs. Okay, otherwise, React components keep crying, I can't return multiple wrappers at the same time. So I can return only one wrapper, but you can have thousands of divs inside one wrapper. So as long as this one main div is wrapping everything inside, then that's okay. So you can keep putting here thousands of different divs, but I can return only one div that is wrapping all those thousands. Does make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Otherwise, React keeps complaining. You can also just put not like div, just like an empty tag. Okay, so that's called like React fragment. You will also like use more frequently later on. No worries. So this is like React fragment. Okay. I will say like advantage why using React fragment is better than using this like div wrapper. Okay. But let's just go with div right now, and then yeah. So this is one single wrapper that's returned by main, and we have like a lot of HTML stuffs here. They're all now has to be exported using like default and the main. So now this main is available for me to import in my index. I'm gonna go and then put here my main, and then I'm importing it from main. Okay, and then I'm taking this main and then rendering it into my root, which is like Saytech. Okay, so that Saytech is right here, and it's gonna inject between this div. And so index.js will take that main. So why am I'm doing this way? Not why I'm not just doing either like this, why I'm not doing, or why I'm not doing just like main. Okay, so it's not gonna work in this case because let's see, it fails. You see, it fails, and then it fails like putting in this class Saytech. It doesn't contain anything. It fails putting, because this main is a component. So that component has to be, since it's component means like, what is it? It's a self-closed, for instance, input, right? It's a component. It's a kind of like HTML element. What else? Like paragraph. It's also another like single simple component. Okay, and that main is also same. So we have to make it self-closed and then make it a component. Okay, that's why it is required to make it self-closed component when you use React components somewhere else. So this main is indeed a component, like it's generating a lot of HTML like small components, right? Or HTML elements, H1, BR, HR, UL, LI, div, and so on, so on. So we have to make this one also look like a component. Okay, otherwise, if you just put here main, its name, it's not gonna correctly treated. It has to be like main. But if it's, yeah, go ahead.
Can you please open some website and show us like it's an example? This is component, this is another one. Just
Okay, yeah, definitely. So this is how it looks like. And let's so for instance, what we can check, yeah, definitely. For example, we can go for Amazon or maybe ESPN. Let's see. Choose a question that okay, that's nice. So if we yeah, definitely, like here we have uh a lot of components. So the uh top menu is another component, like showing all the time like live scores. You see, that's one component, and then this menu navbar is another component. Okay, it is responsible only for showing these drop down menus. And then this we have here main page, where it puts the like live streams. That's another component, guys. And then we have like some sidebar that contains some top headlines. That's another component. Okay, so when you join all those components based on your layout, okay, so you will have layout as well. So my navbar goes on top or on my left side, my sidebar goes to my right. So based on your layout, those components will take place, and then they start functioning according to the logic that you implemented. Okay, so based on your layout, say, hey, I want to put my menu all the time at the top, and then I want to put my sidebar on my right, main page in the middle. So that's your layout. And then when you inject your components, they start functioning. And then down below here we have components. This is still like main page, main component, and then down all the way back. I mean, at the bottom we have maybe some sort of another component here that is responsible for showing quick links. Okay, so like logos and so on, so on. And then another component is for like terms of use, and then some copyright, and that's it. So basically we have like the like 5-6 main components at this point. So like the live scores, the navbar, and the main page sidebars, and then the footer. Okay, like 5-6 components. And then inside every single component, it may have another like dozens of components. Okay, so for this headline, I have another like component. So this top section is has its own header component, and then it has its own main section component. Okay, and the same way for this particular card, I have, you see, like the very first information top the top section, which is one component, and then the live score, another component inside, and then I have to put here image, and then down below the title, description of that image, and so on, so on. These are another sub components inside this component.
In this
Okay.
case, set layout is will come.
Yeah, in the layout, in this case, layout depends on the way you design this card component.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Inside that layout, inside that card, you will have its own layout. So the score goes at top, and then comes image, and then comes my text. That's your layout inside this card. That card is, when you call this card, and this whole card is gonna take place from the main page. That's gonna based on your main layout. Okay. So in other words, every section is a component, and that component may have dozens of subcomponents inside. So we keep designing, we keep creating components at the same time. Okay, so we want to put this component on the right, in the middle, bottom, and so on, so on. That's the design part, and then implementing component so they are located correctly. That's how we continue going while working with React.
Okay. And the last thing you said, they have sub components and their structures same as the main components, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, it depends. Like this, let's say this is your card component where you have image, score, and description. So it has its own components, like subcomponents. So this is one subcomponent of this card, image is another subcomponent, and text is another subcomponent. Okay, so this way, component can be built of like a lot of components, and then that a lot of components can be built with another a lot of components. So this way you will, oops, you will create your huge application tree. Okay, so I can better explain it in maybe in here.
But
Yeah, so let's say this is your main page. Okay, this is your application, and that main page may have like 4 main section, so like nav, okay, and then main page, and then I would say like footer, okay. I beg your pardon for my writings, like footer, and then here let's say sidebar, okay. So my main app contains of these 4 main components, but this main so this is the main page, and this main section of my app may contain of like another 3 components. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So inside this main may have, I don't know, like live score, and then image, and then description. Okay, and this live score may contain maybe built up of like maybe another like 4 subcomponents. Okay, another 4 subcomponents. So you will have here, let's say, some stuff, like text coming in, and then some, message based on the scores every second, and so on and so on. And so this component may be built up with another like 10 components. So it could be, it's completely possible for React. So you can, continue building components uh, as long as you want. You see? So this main page, uh, it contains like 3 components, and one of the components contains another 4 components. One of those components contains another 10 components. And that's the way how the applications are built using the React. And when you combine them all and makes one whole application, and it's gonna be like a tree, a React tree. You see, you have like root, and then you have branches, and then leaves, and gets growing and growing, gets growing and growing, like a tree. So if you want to transfer data, let's say from here, when let's say user clicks something here in this component, if you want to like send some signal to somewhere else, like I want to show that signal in this page as well. That's how you start interacting with between components. Yes, go
And
ahead. What was the
each
question?
component should be rendered in his parent, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So this all rendered under this, and this all like rendered under this, and this all rendered under main, and this all rendered under app. Okay. If component is not rendered, it means that part, that section is not gonna be displayed on the UI. We won't be able to see them. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So let's say now, you see my VS Code, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say here we have navbar, and this navbar is export default navbar. Okay, this is exported, and in my main.js it is imported. Let's say import navbar from navbar. Okay, and this is imported, but it's not rendered. It's not used anywhere else. So we won't be able to see that navbar. The navbar has, let's say, a lot of like information, and it's imported, but it's not used anywhere else. And in our browser, we won't be able to see that navbar. And that navbar has text, I mean, contents like a menu, about us, contacts, and we don't have that page anywhere else here. Okay, because that component is not read, is not hosted, is not rendered by anybody else. So we can host here, writing here nav bar, and then let's see if it's gonna work. Yeah, it worked. Do you think this is working properly now? This is how we are expecting, guys.
No, it's just text here.
It's just text, right? It's not a component. So what is the correct way?
Don't know. We can
Arrows.
Yeah, arrows. We forgot arrows. Yes, it has to be like self-closing like tags, and then we put this nav bar. Then only in that case it's gonna be valid. So let's see, nav bar is it's in a nav and then uppercase, and then
even without render method.
so it's returning. So when it's returning, and if you just use this one inside the return, it's gonna work. Okay, it's gonna work because this one is returning this div, and then inside that div we have navbar, and that navbar is going to bring everything from its home country, all the things that we designed here. Okay, so these are gonna be like brought into here, like literally like this. Okay, little like this, and then this main component continues creating all these other HTML tags like div, h1p, brh, and so on, so on, so on. Okay, but look at this, the way we created a separate component, or the way we want to make it together. So it is the power of like creating separate components. If you make all your features in different components, it makes your code look really less. And this is just one line, and that one line has its own home where we have a lot of lines. But I can also put here without creating a component, but in this case it's gonna make my code look longer. As my application grows, you see, if I try to fit everything inside one file, inside one page, it's gonna be a really like a mess, and it becomes almost tough to understand, impossible to understand, and makes it difficult to debug. That's why splitting into components is the key here. Like, hey, put this into a separate component and then name it navbar, and then write all those inside another that navbar. Okay, so in this case we can create this part as a separate component, Okay, so let's get this one out, and then we can create here another component saying that cars. Okay, so since we don't have cars yet created, it's not gonna run an error. You see, cars is not defined since it's not created yet. So we can create here another component name cars.js, and then we can come back here function cars, and then let it return simply these things ul cars and so on so on so on, and let's make it export default cars. Okay, so now we come back and we simply import that cars, import cars from cars, and now cars is imported and cars is available. And if you take it to the right side, now our code, the main code became even smaller, even less. You see, we have navbar component, and then we have div, and then we have cars. And when it comes to render these cars, it's gonna bring everything from this cars component. It basically attaches these things here, and then continues rendering the rest of the page. Okay, but if we just put this one, it makes our code look really simple and small, and it still works perfectly without any, disruptions.
But here I see a really problem with, you said layout, right? If they had
Yeah,
this,
layout is something like we start doing more when we start like styling. It's not a big issue.
I think
Okay.
if they both had like same style CSS, they can mix, I think.
Oh
Inside.
yeah, no worries, no worries. So it's gonna be easily isolated. So if you give, yeah, let's say if you give like same class name and then apply for all, they will be mixed. But every component can come with their own styles, so they're not gonna be confused. Yeah, I mean that's simple. Once we start like styling layouts and so on, so on. So we want to put this one at, let's say, not at the top, maybe at the bottom. You can just grab it and put down below here, and it's gonna be at the bottom. See?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one layout currently. But of course, like more professional layouts will be, over time we will learn them. Cool. So let's create here more like better exercises. I will remove everything, and basically let's create from the beginning. So let me delete these all. Okay. Okay, you're getting cool. We don't have anything left. We don't have index.js. I think we should have left index.js. Yes, because the only thing is that index.js is something important, the rest are not. Okay. This is the main wrapper that calls our index.html, where it injects here. That's why we need index.js. And now let's say here we have app.js, okay? And then here we have header component.js. And then here we have main.js. And then we have here footer.js. So let's say all these like app, footer, header are returning something. How we can like join them and make one single application. So let's say header does have some its own logic. For example, have header and then return let's say h1 and then hello React. and then down below here we have paragraph. It has not lorem actually. Let's create here a variable, simply name, and then give here one of the names over here. Let's say vector. Okay, hello React, and then I can write here welcome vector. So why did I do this vector? I mean, not vector, sorry, name. Why should I do this like name within the curly braces? What is the point of the
To use the variable instead of
to use the to use the variable vector, right? Otherwise the vector wouldn't be available here. So this paragraph, this P, this H are all like the syntax coming from JSX. So JSX is the JavaScript XML, which is the extension for JavaScript programming language, which gives us opportunity to write HTML-like code right inside the JavaScript functions. Okay, right inside the JavaScript functions, and so those like rules we are using inside the React. And then if you would like to benefit from this kind of like variables, let me put here let, for instance. So if I want to use this name, I can directly put it here, but I have to wrap with curly brace, otherwise it's going to be just a text. It's going to be like welcome name. But if I would like to make it welcome vector, so I have to wrap it curly brace, so it's going to pick up this vector. And why it's complaining, guys? Because the header is a component, and since it started with a capitalized case, so it has to be wrapped with one wrapper, because the JavaScript, I mean React component, cannot return multiple elements at once. So it's like both of them are, you see, at the same time like independent uh, lines. So I have to make them wrap it with someone else. Like I can wrap with anyone else. Like I can wrap with P. Doesn't matter as long as there is a wrapper. But of course, it somehow hurts my logic. Like I'm wrapping with P, and then I have H1 and then another P. It hurts my logic. It has to be more like semantically correct. So div. Now it's the header is ready, and then I just have to export default header. Okay. Cool. The header is ready, and it's ready for importing in other components. So let's go in the main. So we have function. We can also create like this, guys. Const, and then we can do like main, and then equal to, and then we can make it like an arrow function. You see, const main, and then equal to it, and then it can return whatever you want. Let's say paragraph, and it has lorem. Let's make it like 10 times and a huge lorem. Okay, so this is simply like the what was that function declaration way, right? So that's how we can write another JavaScript function. That's quite possible, but just make sure, since this is returning an HTML like element, so it has to be a component with uppercase letter. So now we can export it. Export default main. Okay. So that's one, and then we can go back to footer and then put here function footer. Okay, and down below here we can return now stuffs related with footer. Let's put here div, and then ul. We may have a like Facebook and some other details. Let's say there anyway. Okay.
Instagram.
Kanybek,
Yeah.
I just remember when we worked in HTML file, we could use like Lee *5, and he created 5 items. Does it work
Oh,
here?
that's nice. Maybe I don't know about that. Let's see. Lee. Oops. Insta5. Yeah. There's. I didn't know about that. Good to know. Thank you. The same. And that's maybe because of VS Code feature. That's maybe not React or not like JavaScript feature. Maybe VS Code feature. Visual Studio. Okay.
Excuse me, Kanybek, I have a question.
Yes.
So this JSX, so these HTML tags, so we can use them only on the return or somewhere inside the function too?
Yeah, only inside the return. So you cannot use here like if you put here h1, it's not gonna make any sense. Like it's not gonna be visible in your website. Okay. I mean,
Okay, it should be
yeah,
only
but
on the
yeah,
return.
on the return, but you can do this one like const, let's say my text, and then equal to this one, and then you can use this one like here, maybe like my text. Then it's gonna pick up this h1 and use it here.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah,
good. Yep.
that's a good point. Let me remove it. So the footer is kind of ready. And header we have this one, and then the main page we have a huge lot of. And let's go back into app and then combine all of them. Okay. So we get the import header from header and import main from main, and then import footer. Do we have footer? Yeah, footer from footer. Okay. Footer. Yeah, we have all imported, and now we can create here a function using the function keyword or using the arrow function. Doesn't matter. Function, and then saying that app, which is gonna wrap all of them. Okay. So we want to put header at top. Yeah, we will just make it a header component, and then main component simply, and then footer component. So it's now again complaining, hey, I can't return these individuals. So they have to be wrapped within one wrapper. It could be just like empty tag like this. This is called, I mentioned it, React fragment, or you can just create a div and then wrap with that div. Okay.
And make it call that component twice inside div, he will create just one more.
Exactly. Yes, that's a good point. If you call twice, it's gonna create multiple header. You will see like these duplicates.
Okay.
Okay. The more you call, the more you see. Like if you call like 3 times, but one of them is at the bottom, you're definitely gonna see the duplicates at the top, then main, then footer, then header again. Okay. That's exactly what happens. So cool. The only thing is now let's export it. Export default app, and then inside index.js, we will just have to make sure that app is imported from app, and then let's put inside our root render. Okay. Root render. Now app is injected into our Setec class. Setec class is right here. It's gonna be injected here, and we will see everything that's wrapped in this app, and this header has its own location, which is generating bunch of text, and then main has its own location, has a lot of text inside, and footer has its own. And we go back and we will see import as footer was not found. Let's see, there's a issue with footer. What was that? Import footer, maybe we didn't export. Yeah, we didn't export, looks like export. default footer. Okay, for default footer, and here we go. So we have hello React, welcome vector, and then we have footer episode, and then we have footer Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, Twitter. That's how our page looks like currently. And if we check our Saytech div, it has a lot of insights. So it comes with three. You see, the main div wrapper, and inside it has hello React, and then paragraph welcome vector, and then another paragraph down below we have UL, li stuffs, and so on, so on. They're all injected properly.
Make just one more question.
Yes.
You collected in app.js 3 components, but inside index.js, after render, you called only one app. Do you have a limit for here for render?
No, I mean, best practice is to put only one main one, but you can still put multiple. Let's say you can put header too, but now you have to wrap these two guys, okay, like this. But
If-
the header is not important. You don't have limit, but of course the best practice, industrial practice, is to put only one single component before injecting it into your HTML.
And also, I think recommended to have only one the place, right? Like Saytech, only one div where we have to place our component.
Yeah, one single location. As for this main wrapper, you can have, let's say, a lot of components here, like this, for example, footer, and then not sure, maybe what else, like pagination, what else, like checkout, and what else, like model, and so on, so on. You can have a lot of. These are all gonna be wrapped with app, and then that app takes it into index.js, and everything is contained inside app. But you don't have limit like to putting here how many components you can wrap. You don't have limit, but of course the main wrapper it means that your main page. What might you have in your main page? Definitely, you will have your nav bar. You will have main like section, and then you may have sidebar and some, I don't know, maybe some headlines, and then footer. Most probably 5-6 parts in your main wrapper based on your layout. So that layout could be something like this. Let's say HTML layout. So these parts could be inside your app, only these parts. Yeah, because you wanna uh, return these headers, nav, let's say section, and then inside section you may have heading, article, and then a site and a footer. And so these are only the components you may have inside this app. Okay, so main, and then you can have section, and then you may have a sidebar. Okay, sidebar. And this section may contain like 50 components inside. Sidebar may contain 30 components inside. Header may contain 10. It doesn't matter. But your app just a main wrapper, and it takes everything and then puts it into index.js. Okay. Yeah. If you are also working on your site, so let's try to practice these guys and make sure these are working. Well, so I'm just opening them separately, so I have all opened. So we have footer, main, and then app.js. Okay, So you can create these files and then wrap with app.js and use it inside index.js.
So Kanybek, I just tried to understand by myself. When you press some button, when you log in it, you will see the new page, right? So React helps us with this. When you want to change the page, you are just changing the components, or
Yeah, you're just swapping with components. Exactly. So
where, I
let's
mean,
say
where exactly?
yes, swapping components. So it's not like refreshing the whole entire page. Again, it's just swapping. So let's say so here we have for example I don't know, like maybe um let me put here button, and when you press this button and actually okay, when you, if let's say when this button is pressed, you want to show the header, otherwise we want to show, let's say, footer. So how does it work? um it's not gonna work right now because the button pressing is something different. So as if, let's say, button is pressed, so we will show header, otherwise footer. It just swaps between these two. It's not like the whole page is redesigned. It's not like that. It just updates this, only this section. It's not gonna touch this main. It's not gonna touch footer. They are not gonna be affected. So this way, React optimizes the page rendering and then makes it minimum with minimum, yeah, effort. So as a result, the page is still performing really fast.
And it happens inside app.js, right? That was my question, like in which step?
It happens inside what?
Inside app.js file?
Yeah, inside app.js, exactly. Inside app.js. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, just assume this button is clicked, and so header is rendered, otherwise footer. Right now it doesn't work because we haven't covered that. Then the buttons, clicks, and so on, so on. That's another subject. So let's guys try to build these things, and then see what's gonna happen on your end. On the other side, we can also, guys, go to code sandbox. This is React. I mean, CodePen for React. We have been using CodePen, right, for HTML, JavaScript, CSS. You were using, right, CodePen?
Yes.
So Code Sandbox. Has someone or anybody heard before this one? Code Sandbox? Maybe. So this is and this is a platform or like browser based platform for React applications. If you don't want to install React on your local machine on your computer, you can just go and use this application for running your React example. It's just like sign in using like standard Google credentials. Sign in with the Google, I think. Yeah, it works here. Use mine. Oh, I am now signed in. So what would I do is, when you first time sign in, you don't have anything. You will just have like the draft empty page. You can go and then start creating by clicking this plus sandbox. If you click that plus sandbox icon, you will be suggested like vanilla JS, TypeScript, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So you just choose the React, double click and give the name, say simple app, okay? And that's it. And let's save it. Anything else, or is like it falls full delete and undelete? Okay, I can create maybe another location and then create sandbox. And when you create, guys, it just comes with a very simple default function. You can just get rid of it and start writing your own. So it comes with this index.js. You don't need to touch. Go to app and then get rid of this app. You see everything, just remove everything. And what you can do is again write the same thing what we have done so far. App, and then let's say return paragraph hello. Okay, now it's gonna show us hello instead of is it index.js app? Okay.
Scope.
Oops,
Mhm.
sorry, render. Oh, we have to export default. Did I close this? Okay, export default app. So it's returning hello, so default app, and then index.js. I have app from app. So you can remove this strict modes. You don't need to put that. And then let's double check this out. What's going on up, and then return hello. Yeah, it's coming. Now it's working. You see, you don't need to like install every time. So you can guys now open Code Sandbox or VS Code, and let's try to do these three components: footer, main, and then header, and just call all of them inside app.js. Okay, and then maybe like 10-15 minutes we can work on it individually, and then I can ask if you're still struggling or need help. Okay.
Can you please open the website, please? Just forgot the name.
Yeah, I can share it. So actually it's go to Code Sandbox, sign in with Google Creds, and click plus sandbox icon and create React. Okay. Yeah, Code Sandbox IO. Or you can go to your VS Code and do the steps that we did using the create React. So let's say npx create React app, and then my app. Okay. Once it's done, you just have to go to cd, change directory to my app, and then npm start. It's gonna start your app, and then remove everything from app file, app component, and put your own stuffs. So let's create, guys, this footer, main, header, okay, and then wrap them under app and just put inside index.js. You don't need to touch index.js. Let it stay whatever it used to be. I just create the extra folders down below src, okay, like this, and you should be good. So I'm giving you like 12 minutes, and then I'll come back. Okay. Okay, how's it going, guys? Were you able to build your first React app?
Yes.
Yep.
Who is still working? Amantur, how about your side?
Yes, we have already created.
Aiza, how about you?
Yes, I also created.
Great. Iona,
All good.
all good. Sarina,
I'm working on it.
awesome. All right, looks like you almost all did well. So we have like 3 Lego parts here. Smaller parts, header, main, footer. These are all like Lego parts, React components, and then we have app, which is the main like connector, which makes all Lego parts joint. And once they are joined, we'll ship it to index.js. Index.js injects it into our index.html. And this way, our application is kind of ready with the title, text, and then some footer. Of course, it doesn't have any styling at this point. No worries in that case. I'm gonna learn all of them, but we can give very simple like border. Uh, border. So what we can do is we can create, um, styles.css file, styles.css, and then what we can do is we can create here like class wrapper, and then let's give him border, okay, and what pixel solid, let's say black, and this is gonna be our wrapper class. And if you go back to app.js for this div, we can give that class equal to wrapper. So here, well, another important point. Class is only unique for HTML. And since this is React, we're not going to use the class. We will use the class name instead, just class. Okay. Because React uses class components as well. And then other like class keywords. So not to confuse between them, React suggests to use class name instead of just class. Okay. Because React can be built with class components as well, like using JavaScript classes like class, okay, extends, React components, so on and so on. So it becomes like a kind of keyword, and to avoid confusion, so we use the class name tag to give class names. Okay. Um, so and then React doesn't use ID. Now, most of the time, it just comes up with a class name. That's it. And then the wrapper will take these styles. How? We just have to import it again. So if you would like to import, simply put here import and then styles and dot CSS. That's it. The style CSS is now directly imported into app, and then it just starts affecting on our wrapper. And if you go back, and then we have that border. You see? So once we put border, it means we can go above and beyond. So like, hey, margin, apply some like, I don't know, maybe 12, 20, actually like 50 pixels from all sides. Even like padding, like 20 pixels, and background color, like teal, you see, yeah, color of white, and then and so on. You can now start dancing with your CSS skills. Let's say um, light gray. Let's try to give some shadow. Did it get shadow? Most probably there is a shadow down below here. Anyway, you see, that's how we start styling. This is the most fun part, right? CSS styling part. Like sometimes, like students, it becomes really boring with, complicated React stuffs, and then when we start styling, they take deep breath, and it's kind of like break time. Because styling, we learned a lot since the beginning of this cohort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And that's how it looks like so far. And our very first application. Since our class is like wrapping and then CSS style, that's why we have some gaps outside of the border. So you can only give this class for the let's say main. So if you just take a put here, you don't need to you don't need to import the styles separately inside main, since it does have class wrapper, and this main is already like the one of the child of app. Okay, so this app has 3 children and 1 child is main, and main has class name wrapper, and that's gonna get affected with the styles. So now this wrapper styles will take effect under this paragraph. So let's save. And it's only for that paragraph, for that main, not for the rest. Okay. Of course, if you have other like class name, I mean same class names, class name, wrapper, then both of them will get the same effect. You see, both of them will get the same effect. But if you would like to come up with different class name for this one, let's say footer, and it's not gonna get affected, so you can give simple styles for footer separately. So footer and then border, the 2 pixels, solid red simply. Now it has a different CSS. So footer, you see, class name footer has footer. A footer has class name footer, and then we have CSS. We have CSS for footer. Anyway, never mind for the styles. We will have more like longer sessions regarding styles, because this is not the only way how we style in React. We also have other options like we do in HTML. So inline is in file, and then external. Currently we are doing only like external. However, we have inline as well, and then some separate variable format also we have, and so on and so on. So in a nutshell, the React, how it works really fast. Let me explain the very like key key definition that makes React powerful. It's not gonna like so let's say we have DOM, right? This is DOM. This is DOM. And creating the DOM is actually expensive. Every time when there is a new DOM created, it takes time. Of course, for this kind of simple components, it's just a blink of eye. However, as application gets bigger and bigger, And if you would like to like make change when a button is clicked, and if you want to like show a message, hey, you removed this item, if you want to show that message, and if you know render the entire DOM or entire page again and again every time, it becomes expensive in terms of what? Let's say you are connecting from some remote locations where you are experiencing some slow internet connection, and you will start like for every single button click, you will start having like slowly loading web application, and it's really frustrates you, and you just don't want to use that application again. And how does React keeps the performance high regardless of those kind of like issues? Is because it's not gonna like render the or create the entire it's not create the entire web page from scratch again and again. But what it does, it just updates that part where the change happened. So in other words, React doesn't touch the actual or real DOM. It creates virtual DOM. So let's say this is our real DOM currently, and React has its virtual DOM as well. So when there is a when the change happens, React compares the virtual DOM and then the newly change happened location. So what is the difference between the virtual DOM and then my newly changed changed location? Let's say button clicked, and I have to update my text. So the virtual DOM and then the text is compared, and now I have to update only that text part, and then I will just inject that text part into my actual DOM without like creating the actual DOM again and again. So as a result, behind the scenes, React all the time works with virtual DOM, not with real DOM, and real DOM is only updated when there is a change. Otherwise, the real DOM is still there. So let's say you click the button and you remove item, all the other parts are not gonna get rendered or created again and again. All the parts are just like stayed there. Only the message part is gonna be displayed because you removed that item. Okay, so if the React the way it works with the virtual DOM, and virtual DOM is very cheap for React to create every time, and it's very like simple and doesn't take a huge memory, and it just continuously works with virtual DOM. And when there is a really change needs to be done, then it reflects it into the actual DOM and shows it, hey, this is the message after you deleted your item. But if you, let's say, delete the button, but you don't confirm, okay, you cancel the deletion, nothing is changed. So the page is still, active, and then no need to, refresh the page, no need to, you reload the page because no change happened. So this is kind of like a little maybe confusing or advanced description of React, but as you read more definition of this virtual DOM and React, the way it works, it starts clicking in your mind definitely, and then we can come back and then sync up again and again, like how React actually works. Okay, so I can send over you guys like several articles that describes really well the the mystery behind this React about virtual DOM, and then the word reconciliation. So like the word reconcile means like becoming a friend again, right? Like restore friendship. So we have a virtual DOM, and then we have actual DOM. So if there is a change detected in the virtual DOM, then virtual DOM and actual DOM gets reconciled. So like they becomes friend, and then updates only the parts that needs to be. So this way, React keeps the the application all the time performing really fast. and then high available. So I would say like React virtual DOM. So let me try to pick up the article maybe from LinkedIn. The one guys described React virtual DOM. Let me try to open this. How does it look like? React virtual DOM. What is virtual DOM? Is whereas a VDOM is simplified, lightweight, in memory representation of the actual DOM. A web page in typical in the DOM represents structure and content information. Okay. React virtual DOM works as an intermediate layer between your application's component and the actual DOM. Anyway, so updating, efficiency, benefits. You see, that's the most like striking part of React. You can take a look this article as well. Let me just post over the chat, and let's see another one maybe. And we can also take maybe the images. Let's see, how does it look like? Yeah. So here we have so we have here virtual DOM, and then we have some component change happened. Let's say you deleted item, virtual DOM, and then that deleted item is now compared, and only that part is updated. If you pay attention here, on this part is updated. The rest part of the page are still, remained. This way, our page is not like rebuilt. This way, our page is not recreated from the beginning every time when there's something is changed. When a new item is removed, when a new item is added, we're not gonna like refresh the browser again and again every time when there is a new change happened. We just update that part. This way, our performance is maintained with maximum efficiency. That's kind of makes sense. But definitely would recommend you to read the articles as well. However, we will simplify it over the time. What was that? React virtual DOM. Let me see. Maybe this Code Academy can also explain better. Take a look this one, guys. How it helps. You see, I'm actually not that good. Virtual DOM with example. Probably this block could be better with examples. Yeah, I think so. Yes, you can take a look this one too. You don't need to deep dive right now regarding like virtual DOM and so on. But what is the importance of reading? As you read, guys, things become more familiar and familiar. If you read once right now, this article from top to bottom, you may get only like 3%, 5%, up to you guys. Maybe some of you get 99%. But if you read for the first time and if you see everything is new, you may get maybe 3%, 2%, even 1%. But at least some road, some highway, some streets started paving in your brain, started paving. And when you read next time, you're gonna see, hey, I remember this one. I remember this one. Oh, okay, this one makes sense now. Okay, last time I didn't understand. All right, so this is why. And this way we understand things better and better as we read more and more. Okay. But when you read for the first time, it's common. It could be difficult. It could be like confusing. It could be completely like new for us, but that's completely normal. But when we come across second time somewhere else, our brain retrieves them to our front page and then starts showing us all the snapshots that we took last time and then giving us better understanding. That's why like no worries, guys. Even if you don't understand, just take a look, read it at once and read another article, and you start like making links between them. Make sense?
Yep.
Great. Those are my suggestions. Those are my inputs for today, guys. If you have questions, we still have time. I think I'm still like available. Please feel free.
Actually, no questions.